Today we're talking about no calls. I was prepping some of the videos. I think I said this last month too. I've been so darn busy. I haven't been able to mark a lot of my videos up, but I went through, picked a bunch out, and I should have maybe called this the patient whistle segment, because that's really what it comes down to. Some calls that we have a no call, we need a whistle, but much of the time, if we just wait and watch the play develop, we can let contact go that maybe by rule is a foul, but doesn't affect the game or affect the play, and we can allow it to happen. It just gets for a better, smoother game for everybody to watch and play and ref. So that's what we're gonna go through today. Let me get my first video up.
Hey, Josh.
Yeah.
This is Steve. One question I have for you, like when you do a no call, do you ever like say anything like play on or
No.
let's keep going? So you just got to keep your mouth shut?
If you've got nothing, you do nothing. You don't need to justify your ruling of nothing. You just continue on. A lot of times guys will do this, like if they go down, like get up, not supposed to do that.
Okay.
Maybe a little head shake, and then when coaches complain, just say like, absolutely not. And when it's like, I saw it, like, no way am I getting.
As sometimes, not a head shake, I'll do like a head nod, like that's a good play or that's a good block, right? I mean, I think those little things are good. It's some kind of acknowledgement that I got the play and we're moving on. But yeah, you don't need to say play on or. Here it goes.
Back the ball. Took it outside instead. Turner leaves it.
Okay, now, as always, I'm going to play it fast again. It's a rebounding situation, but the contact that we're talking about, it was a no call. The official called, you could say the lead and the center, I guess, maybe, but they had no whistle, and it was the contact after the rebound.
Back the ball. Took it outside instead. Turner leaves it.
Look at this blue player. Kind of swats at the ball, right? But did that swat really do anything?
No, that's a good no call. I mean, why would you call it?
Yeah, could you make a case that he swung his arm in there and probably hit him on the arm? So by rule, that would be a foul, and shame on that kid because he shouldn't be doing that. You could make that argument. And if you were to call a foul here, you would probably be right as the rule is written. But how often do we see a play like this? There's a rebound, the kid secures it, kind of goes into a crouch almost to protect the ball, and a player gives one swat at the ball to try and get it, and then they leave. If we just wait and hold our whistle, give that a no call and see how it develops. Now, if he continues to swipe and continues to grab, then maybe we need to come and get a foul. But this one, as you all saw, just like dissipated, right?
Yep.
Now, Josh, if he can dislodge the ball, do you call foul there by doing that?
Depends. I don't know if the lead has a great look at this. Looks like he's straight lined as to where the ball is. The center's got a really good look. If you see when the ball is dislodged, you need to know, how did it get dislodged? Did he hit him on the arm? Just because you swing your arm doesn't mean you fouled, right? So if that happens, to answer your question, usually I'm going to have a foul with a big arm swipe, because we have to put a little assumption in. He probably hit him on the arm to cause him to lose it. But you also have to know where your partner is, and then your partner's got a good look. I'm going to let my partner rule on that. As the lead, I'm not going to call that probably, because my center's looking right at it.
Yeah, as the lead, I don't think he has a good look, right? It's got to be your center official in that case.
And as I said before, as officials, not only are we ball aware, we need to be official aware. We need to know where our other partners are and where they are looking. That doesn't mean you look at your partner, right, to see where he's looking, but you just need to be aware that he's there and he's got a good angle on that play, so you can hold your whistle. But this was a great no call, I think. Had no effect on the play. They dissipated, swipe. They went on and played ball.
I agree with that about the awareness with the other official. I would say part of the reason he doesn't have a good look is because he's hugging the lane and not like a close down type of look. And for getting rebounding action, we don't want to be caught right next to the basket. So that's part of the reason why he doesn't have a great look, is where if you get back out as soon as that shot goes up, then boom, you got a much better look.
Yeah, back away, right?
From the lead.
Right. All right. Let's find another video. All right. Here we go.
Peoria and back to the State Farm Center. Hepgard with the whistle. And that will go again.
Okay, did we see the play? It's a rebounding play. Table side, it looks like opposite table. This is a state game, so there's a media table. I think it's at the top of the video in the lane.
Peoria and back to the State Farm Center. Hepgard with the whistle. And that will go against, I believe that's going to go against.
Yeah, 32 with the push right there.
Okay, now what do you think? If we hold our whistle, does it affect the play? Does that little, I'm not saying it's not a foul by rule. We shoved him away. But if we hold that whistle, let's see, here we go. All right, he gets shoved here a little bit, and he definitely gets pushed away. The ball is still not even to the rim. And where does the blue player now position himself for the rebound? He's got a pretty good spot, don't you think?
Perfect, yeah.
So if we wait on that foul, and yes, he pushed him out of the way, but the ball was still coming. We wait on that foul, then we can see as it develops, it didn't affect. He got a really good, maybe better than the white player on the rebound. Do we agree or no?
That could be a no call there because there was no advantage at all.
I think
No, I would have blew my whistle.
I think that's a good area for a no call. Now, if you blow your whistle, you're not wrong. This official was not wrong. That was a foul. All I'm saying is, if you see the push and you wait to see what happens, wait a second. But that ball, when did the push happen? Let's go back. Right as the ball gets released is when the shove happens. Right? So I think if we wait even 2 seconds, you can come back and say, if he gets stuck behind him, you could say he shoved him, coach. Well, that was a late call. Yeah, but I wanted to see what happened, and he got shoved out of the way, out of his position, or whatever you want to say.
He gained an advantage by pushing him, period. So, yeah, I would have blew my whistle.
Anyone else?
What advantage did you feel like he gained from pushing him?
A better rebounding position.
I'm blowing the whistle.
Right. By looking in the beginning, he pushes him, and as he's pushing him, he's going into the lane to gain a better rebounding position. Watch this.
Yeah, that's displacement.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're displacing that player, and the other player is gaining an advantage to rebound in a better rebounding position. Absolutely, I would have blew the whistle.
All right, this is the basket, and we've got a player who shoves him to the basket, and then the ball comes out. Clear advantage, right? They shoved them under, but this one shoved them to the side. Again, I'm not saying it's not a foul, but because the ball was in the air for so long, and then the kid ran and still had a great position. Did he have that position that he wanted? No, but if he didn't get shoved, he would have been behind that player anyway, right? So is it better? Is it worse? And those that say they're going to call a foul, I'm not going to say you're wrong. He pushed him out of the way. But all I'm saying is let the play develop and see, okay, we can let that play on because now he's in a different and just as an opportunistic place to rebound the ball. All right. I'm not going to beat that with a dead horse. All right. Let's try this one. Okay, on the drive toward the end line, have a block.
I don't know about that one.
So what happens in this play? You could argue, first of all, you could argue, does he have a legal guarding position? Is he maintaining his position? I don't want to argue that. Let's just say, for the sake of this meeting tonight, that it was a blocking foul. Okay, we're not going to argue whether it is or not. It's a blocking foul. But as he goes down, I'm going to let it play slow. He gets bumped very slightly. But where was he going? Did he get bumped really off his path toward the basket, or was he kind of just heading to the end line? And the bump was
heading to the end line.
And the bump was slight. Do we agree it wasn't that much of a bump?
No, I'm not blowing the whistle on that. He barely touched him. He went up. He's going towards the baseline. I would have let that play out.
And after the bump, he even got around the defender and got a good open look for a shot. I think, again, if we just hold our whistle and wait and see what happens, we can see that, you know what, this is a no call. Nobody in the gym is going to yell at you for not blowing a foul on this play. I don't think. Not going to register on anybody's mind. What do you guys think?
What if you have a coach that says, oh, there's a lot of contact there? How would you address that?
I can barely hear you, Glenn, so you might want to fix your microphone. Did anybody hear Glenn better than me?
He wants to know, what do you do if a coach comes after you for not calling that when the coach thinks that it is excessive?
Great question. Really great question, because we have coaches question us all the time. And sometimes the coach is kind of legitimate, right? Because there was contact. His kid got bumped. Obviously, he sees it through his eyes, which are biased. But he says, how's that not a foul? And if you passed on it because you thought it didn't affect the play, I'm not going to get into a big argument. I'm just going to say, I got nothing. What's he going to say? That's a foul. Okay, well, I got nothing. Nothing on that. And then just move on. Because if you start to try to explain, well, he got bumped, but he was going at this angle, he got an open look, then you're starting a conversation that's not going to probably end, because you're not going to convince that coach that you were right and he was wrong. Some of them are pretty open to that, but just say, I got nothing. And then hopefully the coach will move on. Unless he says it all night, then, obviously that's a whole different a meeting, how to address coaches. But
boy, and if a coach gets on your case about that call, boy, how much are they going to get on the calls that are actually close?
Right, because that's kind of a no-nothing call. And again, if you call it, just to be fair, if you call it, okay, it's a foul by contact, but you might get yelled at more if you're calling that stuff, because these coaches, especially maybe more at the boys level than the girls level, but they want their kids to play through it. They want their kids to go score. And if you call that little thing, now my kid's got a foul. And so I think they're more prone to letting you let them play, as long as you are confident in how you assess. Can't go and say, well, coach,
I got a quick question for you, Joshua. Now, me personally, if a coach, and I've recently had that issue with a coach say, how can you not call that foul? I say, coach, I may have missed that one. I'll look at it going forward, and I'll be more than happy to assess the situation a little bit better. And, that seems to kind of calm down a little bit, but that's just me.
Okay. So that's a good tactic as well. The only thing I'll say to that is be careful how you say or when you say that, because especially if it's a coach that's kind of a nitpick coach and you constantly say, maybe I missed that one. By the third time you say, maybe I missed it, he's going to start thinking this guy doesn't see anything. Right. So I'm more, and I've said that before, coach, I think we missed it. And that's usually when I know that was a foul. You're right. I should have blown my whistle. I'm going to cop to maybe I missed it. But when I am passing on it on purpose, because I know that had no effect, I'm just going to say, I got nothing. So now he knows I'm confident in what I saw it, and I ruled that it was nothing, whether he agrees with it or not. Does that make sense? No whistle on the play. It's a transition from, I don't know if it was a rebound or a steal, but it's a transition from the other side. It's got anything?
Play on.
I think there was a foul on the rebound, trying to get the guy came in late and hit the guy right there.
Oh, yes, yes,
That was a foul.
yes.
All right. So I'm glad you said that, because let's go here first. This first contact on the layup, we passing on that? Now, technically, he does not have a legal guarding position, does he?
No.
His torso has never
No.
faced his opponent. So we could have a block on that because he's putting his body in the way. He never had a legal guarding position. But in my opinion, who's causing most of the contact?
Offensive player, OIC.
And the contact caused how much effect? I don't think much. You could argue maybe how much it does, but as we rule on this, saying, come on, Josh, sorry. As we rule on this, saying that, oh, that's nothing. Yeah, okay, I think, oh, yeah, I'm going to pass on that. We can't miss this player jumping high and getting a great job of getting to the ball, landing basically on top of his opponent. That has got to be a foul. Do we agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That I would have blown my whistle on that.
Now, nobody said anything. This was one of my games. Nobody said anything because it was kind of an in and out, fast break from one side, fast break to the other. All the kids are up and playing hard, and it was a physical game. But that's a foul, and I think we got to get that every time.
Hey, Josh.
Yeah.
I'm a little new to officiating. Would
Welcome.
you call that thank you. Are we calling that a push, or what are we calling that?
This rebound that they didn't call?
Yeah, the rebound. After the rebound.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I would call, but it's less important what you call and just that you call something. Okay, so that's the first thing, is we really need to get this regardless of what you want to call. I'm going to call a push because his body ran into another body. He's not blocking him from going anywhere. He moved him from his position, right? So I'm going to go push.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
Athletic play. I mean, the guy was good, but you can't jump on another player.
Would that technically be interference? Because from the replay, it looked like he got up there and tipped it as it was about to go in.
Okay, it could be. The video is not great video. I couldn't really see if it was or wasn't, so I didn't even bother to look at that. None of the officials had it, so I'm going to assume that it was not. But we do need to be aware when he jumps up there and gets to that ball. He might not have even touched the ball, as far as I know. Unfortunately, a lot of the video I've gotten recently hasn't been great quality, so it's only so much you can do. That's a great
Would
question.
you consider climbing the back? I mean, did he jump? I mean, it's he pushes the player out of the way, but he's going over his back. I mean, if we look at it and review it as he goes up, the kid's there in position to try to get the rebound. However, when he comes up and the kid has great athletic ability and he goes up towards the rim, he kind of moves the kid out of the way. So is it, what are we doing? Is it more of over the back right here when he goes up in the air?
Okay, but
There's no over the back call. There's no system.
I wouldn't say, I'm saying, when we blow the whistle and say it's a foul, what are we saying here?
Right, so you could
It's
say,
yep.
in layman's terms, it's an over the back, right? Because everyone uses that. But to the point, and I didn't see who was saying it, we do not have an over the back call. And an over the back call is, what call is it?
It's a push.
It's a push.
Okay.
It's legal to go over someone's back, correct? It's illegal to displace them to get to the ball going over their back. So that's why we try not to use that terminology. All right. So far, so good. Yes. All right. I put this one on Facebook for those of you who are part of the Facebook group. I got a lot of differing opinions. I mean, they were all one side or the other. There wasn't a variety of them, but I'm going to play it and just ask you what you think. Okay, we've got a foul here. Official calls a foul right here. What do we think? A good call, or can we hold our whistle on that and make that a no call?
I'm not blowing my whistle. It looks like a no call to me.
I think hold the whistle because he had to do something with the ball. He was a little bit, he didn't know what to do with it. He passed it at the last minute, so no call.
So he's driving in the lane here, and he's being converged onto by 4 players. He may not see the guy behind him, but he can see he's going in an area where he should not be going into, right? Do you see where his face is looking at this time? And I know we're slowing it down and freeze framing, but he's looking
not
out.
looking at the basket.
He's looking out at the player that he passed to the whole time, right? If we wait, yes, oh, he hit him on the arm. He totally got him. But wait a second, and now he just threw it to his teammate here who puts up an easy 3-pointer.
My question is, okay, if you blow the whistle, he throws the ball there, but now what do you say? Oh, he's shooting the ball? I mean, he's clearly throwing the ball out to his teammate. Some people will say, oh, he's trying to take a shot.
Absolutely not. He's on the floor.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about that for a moment, because this is important. And this is a rule. This is not what the meeting was about. That's called continuous motion, right? Is he shooting or is he not shooting? Let's say he is in the act of shooting here. Let's say that's what was his intent, was to shoot the ball. He's clearly in the act of shooting, and then he gets fouled. But what does he do? We have to rule on what he does. We can't say, well, I thought he was going to shoot, and then he got fouled and he decided not to. Well, then if he was going to shoot and got fouled, he should have put the ball up. If he actually shoots the ball, I'm going to go continuous motion. But since he passed the ball, I'm going with the pass. If you try and convince a coach that he was shooting the ball after he passed it, you're going to have a tough time, because he didn't shoot the ball. He passed it, right? So continuous motion is great, but what did the player do? Even though the whistle may have altered his action, what did he ultimately do? If he passes it, it's not shooting. If he shoots it, it's shooting. Do we agree with that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I know we are judging intent of players all the time, and we're not supposed to, right? We're supposed to react to what happens on the court, but we have to anticipate plays. So especially in continuous motion, I have to anticipate that he's shooting the ball, but I also have to react to what actually happens. And you can't say he was definitely shooting, coach, when he passed the ball away. He wasn't shooting then. So follow what actually happens to help you, and coaches will accept that a lot more, because they can't refute that he passed the ball, right? All right. I'm glad you brought that up. And Glenn said, by the way, that last game was a Catholic league. For those of that are from Chicago, the Chicago Catholic League, they don't call fouls in that league. So that's why they didn't blow their whistle. All right. Let's see. How about this one? Looks like an over the back call, as we said earlier. Play it fast again, and then we'll slow it down. Okay, looks like he called it on 52, maybe. What numbers were involved here? Let's see if we can figure it out.
He called it on 15.
15, okay. Yeah, good. So he called it on 15. The guy who was behind. All right, let's watch it. Slow it down and watch it and see what we think.
I think they call a foul because the guy fell down.
I didn't mark this out, and I wish I would have. Is it possible he was contacting him on the shoulder? It's possible. But where did the ball get stolen? Did that guy from behind keep him from getting the ball?
I'm looking at number 4. I mean,
Yeah, me too.
I got him from behind, but then you look at number 4 coming in there.
Yeah,
and
but did
now,
Ford cause any illegal contact?
No, he went straight up, and the guy in blue came straight down, so there was no displacement.
It looks like he jumped straight up and straight down, and Ford just took it from him. Yeah.
Yeah, no displacement.
Now, I'm not saying 15 didn't go over his back, but again, going over the back is not illegal. There has to be some illegal contact. Now, again, the video only shows so much. I'm not going to question the official here. I mean, maybe he saw something that was definitely a foul. But according to this video that we're watching this angle, I think this is nothing. And just because there's a group of people together, and I think that was Dennis, just because the guy falls down, doesn't mean we've got to call a foul. Do we agree?
Yes.
We have to, and again, I wish I'd call this a patient whistle, but we have to have a patient whistle and watch the play develop. Yes, question.
Looks like the lead is in the B position. I mean, the A position. Shouldn't he be pushed out a little bit more at B? He would have maybe got a better angle because it seems like he's like right there underneath on the lane in A.
Let's go here. Let's see. So he's all the way back. Looks like it was a throw in.
Right,
Okay.
so goes
he comes
C,
all the way in.
all
There's a shot. Once there's a shot that goes up, he probably should back up. Is that your point?
Yeah.
Yeah, he should be maybe.
Because it's like A, B, and C, right? So C is all the way out.
Yeah, maybe 4 feet backward.
Yeah.
Or toward the sideline. I agree. We need to open ourselves up as lead to get a better look. I don't know if that would have helped him see this play better, but my point of this one is we can't just again call based on, oh, well, the kid fell down and yes, he was over his back. And no, but what happened?
I think part of the problem you have is it's beaten to our head when we go to clinics. We have two or more people on the floor. They want a whistle to stop the play for safety issues.
Mike, was that you?
Yeah, that was me.
That is a great point. And I hate that. I don't hate it. That's a strong word, but I really don't like when guys say, hey, 2 bodies on the floor, we got to have a whistle. No, we don't.
I don't like it either because
2 bodies on
I agree.
Go ahead, Mike.
You have such, unfortunately, not a lot of talent, and a lot of these kids are just falling out of their own feet.
Now, when 2 bodies go to the floor, chances are there was a foul. Chances are you probably should have a whistle, but you need to know what happened. You can't just say, oh, 2 bodies on the floor, I got to come up with something. Because to your point, a lot of times kids just fall. Because
I had this at my game the other day. The one girl was driving and she passed and then she tripped into the other girl. It was an accident. I'm not going to call that, They both fell.
Right. And you need to know what happened. Because if a coach does say, oh my goodness, how that's not a foul, you can say, coach, she fell on her own. She doesn't fall on her own. Yeah, she did. And then you move on. Because it does happen. It happens actually more often than coaches maybe want to admit. Kid falls down. A lot of times they fall down for what reason? To try and get us to call a foul. And do they fall down when they don't get contacted? No, there probably was some contact, but that's the whole point. We can rule nothing, even if there's contact and the kid falls down. We have the judgment to say that didn't have any effect on the play. That didn't cause you to fall down. Now, there's certain situations maybe that are slightly different, but for the most part, especially on rebounding plays, let the kids play it out. I think
in girls,
you're right.
I think in girls' games, Josh, I think a lot of times the girls, they do most of the falling. You'll have 4 or 5 girls just fall down because of the contact, and then you got the fans and the coaches complaining, but there's not much you can do about it. They run into one another or whatever, and they fall on the floor.
Yeah, and Adam made a good point. Rebounding is, when you look at the mechanics of it, the lead is supposed to be watching the body, and then the trail and the center kind of watch the ball up and then up the stuff up top. But rebounding fouls, displacement is pretty hard for the lead to get because the lead's usually right on top of it. The center has got really a great view on rebounds because he's looking through the players. And now, at least in Illinois, and I think countrywide, NCAA is pushing this trail to come down more, to almost have 2 Cs. So you have 2 officials looking through. So the trail and the center are going to be really better prepared to rule on those rebounding plays.
Actually, let me speak on that, what you just did. I did a game with a great young official. We was at Aurora High School, and almost that same exact play, we did not blow our whistle. We let them play because we wanted to continue play. I agree with not blowing the whistle there and just let them play through it.
And the main overview that I'm trying to bring with this meeting on no calls is if you blow your whistle too much on little stuff that you can let go, yes, it's a foul, but if you can let it go, it will go a long way to a better played game. Not always. Sometimes that they can't find their own flow and they start hacking even more, then you tighten it up. But if you see that that's happening, then you can tighten it up and try and get control. But a lot of the times, especially in the beginning of a game, if you allow a little bit of contact to go so the kids can find a flow, it's going to really help you in the long run because the kids feel like they're playing basketball. I wish there was a, be all end all for that to happen every time. And obviously there isn't, but all right, let's look at this play. It's all from the same game, but I got a couple different angles. Okay, we got a foul. I'm going to play it fast again real quick. There's a transition. I don't know if it was a shot or a steal, but from the backcourt into the new front court, and a foul as they're trying to move it up. Here's it slow. What do you guys think? Can we pass on this?
In no world is that a call.
Here's another side. I got 2 angles from this game. Maybe this gives us a little bit better view as to what happened.
Oh, man.
I got nothing.
Hey, Josh.
The coach is going to get on you about that because he's going to say he pushed him in the back. The coach will say that.
That's right. So did he create contact?
Yes.
I think so. And
Hey, Josh. Hey, Josh, it looked
Go
to
ahead.
me like, and when you look at it, it looks like he kind of just pushed him in the back, which technically, if you do that, he didn't play the ball. That's an intentional foul.
You could call intentional if you do that, or you could call nothing because maybe he stumbles just a little bit. And what does he do? Recovers almost right away and has a great, play to continue on. Now he's probably not going to drive to the basket here, but he might even be able to get past those 2 defenders.
But you're going to hear from that coach, he pushed him in the back. You're definitely going to hear that.
Right. You can say, Coach, I got nothing.
In my
You
experience,
didn't see that shove? He just shoved him right in the back. Coach, I got nothing. Right? Now you're just conveying that I saw it and I don't think it was a foul. He may not like it, but he knows that you ruled nothing. And hopefully, if you saw that was the 3rd quarter with about 4 minutes or so left, hopefully at that point, you've established how you're calling the game and you won't get yelled at. But if you do, he knows, unless he thinks you suck all game, and I suppose that's possible too. He knows, all right, I'm not going to push this guy around because I haven't pushed him around all game. Okay, he's got nothing on that. He's going to move on. All right.
in my experience, it's going to be the team that was purposely giving the foul who's going to complain about not calling it, not the team with the ball, because they realize we have a chance for a layup.
Right. And what was that kid doing? Actually, to Dennis's point, let me stop it. To Dennis's point, what is that kid doing? He was trying to foul him so he didn't get a fast break, taking away an obvious advantageous position or, situation. Now, I'm not suggesting we call an intentional foul on that, because that's going to cause a lot of problems too. It doesn't mean we don't make calls because of how people are going to react. But allowing that play to happen is a much better choice than calling an intentional foul. Do we agree?
Yeah, Josh, I think sometimes too is that in all the years I've been doing this, sometimes if you get a chance, you go over and talk to the individual during a dead ball and say, make sure if you do call an intentional foul, go over and explain it to them when you get a chance and say why you called it. Go for the ball next time.
Right. But it's also important. I think you be talking to the kid, right? Tell the kid,
Yeah.
you got to play the ball, but then go to the coach and say, Coach, I don't really like that call either, but he didn't even make any play for the ball. I just shoved him in the back. Again, coaches may not like it, but they can logically think through like, okay, I get why you did it then, and then they can talk to their kid, but we got to confer that to the coach as well.
Hey, Josh, I got a quick question for
Yeah.
you. In my game, sometimes I do tell the kids, move your feet, don't reach, while I'm near, and and down low, watch watch the pushing in the back, when they're down on the block, when I'm the lead official at that point. I mean, do you say something to the kids at all when find yourself saying something before that, before the next play, or you see something before
Yeah.
it gets bad?
So I talk to the kids as much as I can without talking to the kids, meaning I don't like to coach them, because a lot of coaches don't like when you say, get your hands off, get out of the lane. They say, just call the foul. So I try not to do that. However, preventatively officiating, if you can get to the kid and have them get watch it, keep your hands off. Maybe when they come around, you passed on the hand foul here, and then they come around, keep your hands off. Sometimes I'll say, keep your bows in on those screens. You see a kid setting a screen like this, and if the kid can hear you, usually they respond like, oh, yeah, okay, all right, got it. Because you don't want to call a screen when he barely got him with his elbow, unless, it was a major impact. But you don't want it to be there next time either, because if it does make an impact, then you're trying to, eliminate that. Does that make sense? I know I kind of said both things, but I try not to as much say it maybe so everyone else can hear me. Maybe that's what I'm saying. Let the kid know and not so much yell it out so everyone can hear you.
Yeah. No, yeah, just the kid. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Josh.
All right. Let's try another video. Same game, but this is a good one as far as what we're talking about. That was a long clip. And I'll tell you why. So he called a foul on the post. Did you see that? The two players in the post here. I don't have it slowed down or zoomed in. First of all, does anyone see anything worth calling here? Yes, he's got his arm around his waist there a little bit. But what are the players doing with the ball? Are they even attempting to try and get the ball into him?
No.
I mean, that might be the goal of the play, but it doesn't really look like they can see he's being guarded. He can't really pass it in there. I think, this is a no call here. But I'm going to tell you why I played this clip, because if we go all the way back, watch the reaction of the coach who's now in that official's ear. He's complaining. I mean, I'm assuming he's complaining. He's in his ear. They're talking it out, which I'm okay with. He thinks there's a over the back or something there. And he's going to oh, come on now. Now I think that is in the official's head. And so when he gets down further, he's like, I'm going to get a quick foul here. And now that coach, he was maybe right. So now I got it on that player. That makes sense? We cannot let coaches get in our heads. Easier said than done, right? Because it happens to all of us. That coach just yelled at me. Maybe even I think that he's right. And then we get down the other end and you get kind of a makeup call. I know we don't do makeup calls. I get that. But subconsciously, I think we do sometimes. And so we have to really work hard to not go, boop, I got that one. See, coach, I'm not against you. I don't care if that coach likes me or not. I'd like him to like me, but I need to call the game so it's fair for everybody. And hopefully after 4 quarters, right? 36 minutes, 36, 32, 32 minutes, they'll see that, okay, he was consistent throughout. He didn't job us at all because he did this, he did that, right? That's what we really want when you leave, that they don't think that they got jobbed. They're always going to argue a call. They're always going to try and get in your head to maybe get the next call. But we can't let that happen. Anyone see anything different on that? That was kind of the point of that clip. All right, let me go back to this video here. Hold on, I got to switch folders. All right, this is from last year. Did you see what happened? It happened right at the free throw line. This driver here, number 1, he drives the lane, gets bumped, and makes a shot. We got no call on the play. Significant contact. Do we agree it was significant contact? My opinion, this is a great no call. Great no call. It takes extreme discipline to not blow your whistle when that happens, because that is a foul. I agree. He totally bumped him and displaced him. But what does he do?
He regains composure.
He finds a great spot to put up a nice little jumper. Now, I know he didn't make it, but I can't, guarantee anyone makes anything. He had the best look he could get, and I don't think that bump interfered with that at all. Do we agree?
Agreed.
Now, I've played this. I think this also was on Facebook last year, and a lot of guys said, I'm calling it right away. You don't know what he's going to do. He bumped him up. You could say that could have affected what he did and call a foul. I agree, but what did actually happen, right?
Hey, Josh, it looked like the dribbler, when he was dribbling to the in the lane there, he hooked the defensive guy to keep him away. You watch it real close.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a hook there. I agree. So there's a bump and a hook.
I also agree that it's probably a no call. So
I think the bump happened before the hook. Do you agree with that?
Yeah,
Yes.
he only hooked him. Yeah.
That hook may have happened because he got bumped off his path. He maybe didn't have an intention of hooking him.
That's a great no call. I wouldn't have called it.
And Anthony made a comment, and it's true. If, let's say, he gets bumped and then ends up stumbling or maybe losing the ball or not getting a good footing, you could come up with a foul after that. You could wait and say the bump caused him to lose the ball or caused him to, that's totally fine. A late whistle is fine on this one, but if you wait, just have that patient whistle and watch it develop, a no call, I think, is the right call in this play.
Now, if he goes down to the ground or goes down to the floor, then at that point, yeah, of course you blow your whistle, but right, yeah,
easy, because clearly knocked him to the floor.
This is Mike. I think part of it, if your defender would have extended his arm bar that he had, then you had a great foul. But with him having the arm inside, that's a better no call.
Yeah, and again, these aren't easy. Having no calls on some of these plays are not easy, because all of us are very reactive, right? When you see it, you call it. And I got that. We have to train ourselves to see it, watch it. Okay, now it's all done. I got a foul or I got nothing. We play on, because lots of times, especially at the higher levels, these kids can play through contact and they can get an easy 2 points if you just let them get the 2 points. And that's what we want, right? In basketball, we want the kids to score. We don't want to stop it with fouls. I'm probably more at fault during a game not blowing my whistle on fouls when I should, because I don't want to stop the flow of the game. I don't want that kid to not get his 2 points. And there's sometimes my partner will come in and get a foul and say, yeah, you're right, we got to get that foul. But I'm constantly saying to myself, let it play out. Let it play out. Let it play out. It gets me in trouble sometimes, but I think we're better off overall allowing play to continue on. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, I agree with you because on the high school, when I did the high school B game, I tend to let the B game play it out more than I would an A game because they're more aggressive. But the B game, just let it play. I agree with you totally.
Well, at the lower levels, especially when it comes to A and B, the B teams can't play through. They're not good. And sometimes they say at the girls level, some of the girls aren't as good. There's a bigger disparity between players. So that kid can't play through the contact. But we can't say, well, for that player, I'm going to call it at this level. And for that player, I'm going to call it at this level. It's got to be the same level for everybody. So wherever we draw that at, and you can change that level throughout the game. You're letting a lot of contact go. And now you're realizing, boy, this isn't getting any better. I'm going to have to call more and not allow as much contact. Or, wow, I'm blowing my whistle too much. I'm going to stop and I'm going to let more contact go. It's okay, but you just can't say 25 is their star player. I'm going to let him just get away with anything. And 32 can't play a lick. And I don't mean, sometimes, a kid comes out there and he's out there because he doesn't ever get to play. I get that. But it's the same for everybody. And they're the best player for a reason, because they can play better than everybody else. So everyone has to be on the level playing field.
I agree with well, here's the thing. I think at the beginning of the game, I really want to come out swinging and say, we're getting everything for the first couple of minutes. And then as you back it off, you can really gauge to see, do they want to play legally physical, or does a hacking start up right away again? Because I would think to have a good no call, you want to be able to have no calls at the end of the game. That way everything's are kind of clean and keep the whistles out of it. But to get to that point, I think a lot of teams, you need to be very, show people right off the bat, I'm the official that knows this, I'm seeing everything, and we're going to clean it up right at the beginning. That way we can build to a really good second half and end of the game.
Okay, so that's a good point. Here's what I'll say to that. I've had this discussion a lot with a friend of mine about some guys will come in, and this is an old school phraseology, so to speak. They'll say, in the beginning of the game, we're only getting felonies. We're not getting misdemeanors. We're only getting felonies. Okay, now, when you do that, you could allow some activity I forgot who said that. Sorry. It could get out of control. That's a foul. You can't pass on that just because it wasn't a felony. So you have to be able to assert yourself as, I'm the official and I'm calling that. 2 hands, hand check. It sets the tone. Totally agree. However, if you come out and you're too strong as an official because you want to set the tone that you're the one in control, and now you're calling some stuff that if you were to just let it go, it would have all just played out and would have been fine. So we have to really find in between that. We have to be able to read the play from the get-go and see, what am I going to allow and what I'm not, because I've been in games where I've done some of that, and now I'm targeted for the whole game because I've just called 3 fouls in a row that maybe if I could have passed on, they would have, and not that guy's just out to get us, or that guy just is out here because he wants to show everyone that he's the boss. And even though it might not be true, obviously, it's unfortunate that perception plays a lot into what we do. So we got to find that balance, I think.
Can I chime in real quick?
Yeah.
We had a game just the other night where it was 2 pretty good sized schools, girls game, very competitive. One program has been real high for like the last 10 years. They're on their way down now. The other school is on their way up. And our philosophy before the game started was, we're going to let them play tonight and see what they do. That doesn't mean we're not going to call fouls, but we're going to let them play and then see where it goes. And if it gets too physical, then we're going to start calling stuff. We didn't get in the bonus the first half. We barely got in the bonus the second half because one team was down by too many points.
And I think my philosophy, if you allow them to play more physical to begin with, you can always tighten it up as you go. It's a lot harder once it's really tight. I shouldn't say it's harder, but when you loosen it up, then it's like, the kids don't even really, what you called 15 fouls and we're in the bonus. So again, I'm kind of on both sides of it because there's total merit in getting some of the little things up front to say, we're getting those tonight. But at the same time, to allow the kids to be able to find the flow. So just as officials, we should do the best we can to balance both sides. That didn't really help anybody, I know, but.
Yeah, well, for myself and others, here's the thing. Would you rather call a hand check in the first 2 minutes or the last 2 minutes? First 2 minutes for me, for sure.
That's true. That's true. And I also don't like when people say, if you haven't called a hand check all night, don't call it in the fourth quarter. No, I don't go by that. Maybe there were no hand checks all game and then they hand checked in the fourth quarter, right? You want it to be there. But to your point, I think, is if you're calling a hand check in the fourth quarter, they're all going to go, oh, well, I haven't seen that all night, right? So I get it. I'm not discounting that philosophy. I think there's a balancing act that we as officials need to provide, because unfortunately, there's a lot of officials that can't distinguish play and then just blow, 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 blow. And that doesn't help the game either. Then you're there. I've had guys say, oh, I worked this so-and-so game and it was this team against that team and we had 57 fouls and it took an hour and 40 minutes. I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, Josh, they were all really bad fouls. I've never had a game. I shouldn't say that. I rarely have a game with that many fouls where the kids just don't stop, right? So we need to be careful about giving this perception to anybody to blow your whistle and blow your whistle, because some guys just, they can't. Does that make sense? They can't discern between a good foul and a bad foul. And all right, that was more of a soapbox, I think. Sorry. All right, I have a bonus video. Have you all heard coaches say, I just want you to be consistent, right? That's what they all say. And I don't think a lot of the coaches really know what that means, if I'm being honest. I know they think they know what it means, or they know what it means in their point, but a block on this end is a block on that end, and don't, right? We all know as officials that every play is different, right? And we have to rule every play based on its own merit. But here's a play that I want to show you that I think if we can do this, coaches think that we're being consistent because it's the same kind of play. Here it goes. I want to point out it's the third quarter at 4:26. This is when the first play happens. Here we got a block call. Now, whether you like it or not, regardless, look at the play. Calls a block. Drive into the lane. Yes, okay, let's focus on the official. Calls a block. Great. We move on. Now it's just seconds later, 3:56, still in the third. So just like the next play, maybe 2 plays later. The exact same play. Now, are there differences? Yeah, probably, right? But to everybody watching this game, that is the exact same play. And we had no whistle on that play.
Well, they don't know what they're doing. So
Looked like in both plays, Josh, it looked like there wasn't a lot of contact. There was a little bit, but I think it could have been a no call on the first one.
Now, I agree there's hardly any contact. And I'm not going to make this a block charge legal guarding position meeting. But he hits him here, right? Which is still part of the torso. And to me, I think the officials maybe thought this was a charge, but you know, as officials, we all don't like calling charges when they barely hit them. So they passed. But when we go here, it's the same thing. He barely hits him, right? You could say, well, he was maybe sliding over. Okay, well, maybe, but he barely hits him and knocks him over and he calls a block. So I don't know. Again, I'm not questioning the officials of what they saw because there are differences when those plays happen. I totally get it. But everybody watching that game sees you called a block on that end and then you called nothing on that end. If it happens in the fourth quarter and the third quarter, people aren't going to remember that. They're not going to say, you're not being consistent. But when it's literally 20, 30 seconds later, people have in their mind that you just called it. Does that make sense? And I know it sounds like I'm saying you should call a block. I get that, again, there's differences and we want to call based on that merit. But if you're not sure or if you think it's close, I'm going to go block because I just called a block on the other end. And now look, coach, I got you here, and coach, I got you here. We're calling it the same way. I think it's going to go a long way if you can get those little ones that are close together to be the same. Does that make sense? Anyone disagree with that?
No, you're totally right. It should have been called on one end, you call it on the other end. I agree with you.
And I don't like a foul call on that second play. I don't like it. I like to let those go. But if you just call the block on the other end, you know what? Then I probably have to call a little foul on both sides. And then you can say, all right, I'm going to reset and we're going to, redo it. All right. What do you guys think? Yeah, go ahead.
I agree with that one. And maybe just an added wrinkle is kind of, I don't really have a standard crew. So I do 2-man and 3-man and all over the place. But anyways, so I'm constantly, every game, it's like, okay, what is this guy calling? Are we calling in these illegal screens? Black charge, obviously. And you're kind of just building, just getting the basic information so that exactly you're prepared. Be like, okay, well, I thought maybe, but we didn't call anything there. So next time I'm definitely not. So just kind of feeling that out.
And you don't want the coach to be guessing. I mean, I know we don't care about what the coach is, but you don't want the coach to be guessing like, well, what's he going to call now? Because you're so across over the, you got a block, you got a charge thing. The coach can't figure it out. He can't coach his kids because you've called different stuff on basically the same play. Now, if you go to the coach, you can and explain to him if you have a moment and say, coach, the last play he slid over, he moved over into him. And this play he stood straight and he just barely got him. Okay, if you can explain that, I'm okay with that. And I don't know what happened in this game if there was explanation after. But I just think, again, if it goes a long way, that everyone watching, that's the same play, boom, boom, and now you can move on. I don't know. Officiating's hard. Anybody have any parting words? That's all the video. I mean, I got lots of videos, but that's all I got for tonight. I hope it was helpful. And the point again was to show if we can hold our whistle and make a no call on plays that maybe are fouls by rule, it goes toward a better flow of a game. And in the long run, coaches will, not that coaches need to like you, but coaches will be accepting of the game as it plays on. Did we get that or no? Did I miss the mark?
No,
you got her.
You're right on the head.
All right, I'm going to pull up my my training schedule here so everyone can see, because we got a call for the meeting for next month. We will be in 2023, January 19, which again is the third Thursday of the month. And we're going to be talking about substitutes. Substitutes coming in, substitutes coming out, maybe subs on that are waiting from after a free throw, or subs that are there after the horn goes off, or things like that. All going to be relating around substitutions.
Yes, thank you. Because I got into it with a coach about substitutions, and this guy actually was yelling and screaming.
We have to know. And we have to know when to beckon them in. We have to know which official is going to beckon. We have to know when to pass it off. I got a great clip that I just got a couple days ago about a technical foul because there were 6 players on the floor. So we can talk about that. What happens when
absolutely
sub comes on and sub doesn't come out. So hopefully it'll be hopefully you're not working next Thursday, January 19th, and you can make it. But I appreciate you all coming on. And hey, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday.
You too, Josh. Thanks.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Josh. Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Thanks, Josh. Happy holidays.